All right, this is We the People News. Okay? I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice. Anything I say or do is just my opinion and it's hearsay. So do your own research. Okay? Never look straight forward, always look around you to be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. That's including using the Second Amendment, arm yourself with knowledge. Alright? Um, let's go ahead and get started, but I thought this was an interesting deal, my last deal, last video. Alright? And you guys hear me always talk about always get one with prejudice. Now, that can kind of go into a different realm. Uh, you could do without prejudice, but that also, well, we'll find that out anyway. Let's hear what they have to say about it, okay? Let's go.
Hi.
Oh, by the way, check out her YouTube. She's got a lot of great information to kind of, and it's short, sweet, to the point, and you can kind of learn something from there as well. I do watch her videos fairly often. Okay, let's go.
This is Advocate Lucinda, your empowerment lawyer. Some of you have asked me, what does it mean when a judge dismisses a case with prejudice and without prejudice? That's what we're going to talk about today. I'll define each, and I will give you reasons why a judge might dismiss a case with prejudice and without prejudice. So let's get started. A case dismissed with prejudice is a final judgment that means the case is over and cannot be brought back to court. So let's look at some reasons why a judge might dismiss a case with prejudice. The judge determines the plaintiff brought the case in bad faith. The plaintiff failed to bring the case within a reasonable time. And two instances when this could occur is when the plaintiff fails to bring the claim within the statute of limitations. Another instance is where a plaintiff has a right to assert the claim, but fails to assert the claim in a timely manner that is detriment to the defendant. The plaintiff failed to comply with court procedures. A case can be dismissed with prejudice voluntarily through an out-of-court settlement. A case dismissed with prejudice can be appealed to a higher court. So let's turn to dismissal without prejudice. A case that is dismissed without prejudice is only dismissed temporarily. The plaintiff is allowed to refile charges or bring the claim to another court. Now let's look at some reasons why a case might be dismissed without prejudice. A judge may dismiss a case without prejudice in order to allow a party time to address an issue with the case before trying the case again. Now, that doesn't mean that the judge's grace is extended indefinitely. What am I saying? If the plaintiff is going to refile the claim must be filed within the statute of limitations. In other words, the statute of limitations is not told. It keeps running. Let me give you an example. Let's say the plaintiff had a 2-year statute to file her lawsuit. And she filed the lawsuit 1 year and 6 months into the statute. So there's 6 months remaining, right? And let's say the lawsuit was filed on December 31st. And let's say further, on January 31st, the judge dismissed the case without prejudice. The plaintiff has from February through June to refile the complaint, because by the end of June, the 2-year statute of limitation would have arrived. This is critical, okay? A prosecutor may dismiss a case to file a new one that is more or less serious than the original charge. So let's look at some other reasons.
Now sit and think about that one, y'all. The prosecutor may dismiss a case to file a new one, right? So we definitely don't want him to file a new one. Next thing you know, you go down the road and all of a sudden, cop pulls you over. No big deal, right? Well, the warrant has been issued for your arrest and you're kind of confused because you had a case dismissed. Well, they brought it back up or they filed a new one in that same thing. Just saying. I call that double jeopardy, but I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice, okay?
Prosecutor may dismiss a case to file a new one that is more or less serious than the original charge. A prosecutor may choose to dismiss a case without prejudice in order to have time to address a weakness or issue with their case. We hear this all the time, don't we? Now, regarding the statute of limitations concerning criminal matters, while the statute of limitations may be applicable to criminal offenses, it is not for the more serious crimes, such as for murder and kidnapping, and there are others. I trust this video has helped you to make a distinction between dismissal with prejudice and dismissal without prejudice.
Alrighty. So there you go. Alright? Educational purposes only, okay? I'm not an attorney, but that's the reason why. At minimum, you want one with dismissal with prejudice, without prejudice, to kind of negotiate. But you want to always ask for a dismissal with prejudice because you don't want that just been dismissed and left blank. Why? Because we just heard what she said. 2 years down the road, there'll be a warrant for your arrest. You don't know anything about it. And in Texas, there's such criminals, allegedly, that they would use your previous address you lived at and send it to them. And then they say, well, I'm sorry. We didn't know. When they had all your present information. Right? Just saying. They do that here in Texas. So don't think they won't do this in any other states. They do, in fact, do that in Texas. And that's not illegal advice. That's just truth. These are We the People News. Bye, y'all.